once again, good day and welcome to Securing a Strategic CLM webinar. We are super excited to have everyone here with us today. And I think you are going to have a great session. There's some great content that Helmut has prepared to share with you. Just a couple of housekeeping rules before we get started. We will be recording the session and we will ensure that we send a link to both the session as well as the slides to you within the next week. We do also want the session to be as interactive as possible. So you will see that there is a Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. You can add your questions, any questions that you have, you can add in there. So without any further ado, I want to introduce you to Helmert van Maanen, our speaker for today. Helmut.
Thank you very much, Carla, for this short introduction. I will give us another introduction too now to myself. So my name is Helmert van Maanen, and I'm the regional sales manager at DACH at ContractPod. I have been working with ContractPod for almost 2 years now, and well, I'm actually enabling clients, bringing business value to their organization by securing a strategic AI-driven CLM solution, and which streamlines and automates the processes throughout the complete life cycle of a contract, and then thus connecting the business to the legal departments. Last year, I sold into large enterprises like Software One, which is one of the largest or the largest Microsoft Cloud service provider worldwide, and I will also tell a little bit around why they bought ContractPod, but also, well, what were the reasons that they needed to move forward with a strategic CLM. So today's topic is securing a strategic CLM to operate more efficiently with less resources, and I now will start with the webinar. Please go ahead with questions in case you have some. So today's agenda is as said, why you would need a CLM, what would you need in a CLM. Then I would speak a little bit about how a business case is then set up for you and for your organization. And as part of our offering, we can offer you a complimentary business case assessment after the webinar. So please, thank you very much for joining already up front. And now I'm a little bit talking about the state of the market, where the market finds itself with regard to the CLM. And from a survey from Ernst & Young, which was done by a friend of mine who works with Ernst & Young and is working in the CLM and in the automating contract management department, they did a questionnaire, and they found out that 84% of enterprises do not use a legal technology at all for contract management, which is quite a high number. And this brings us to the current situation of what are the typical things that clients are struggling about. They need to do more work, they have more work to juggle. They have complex contracts that they need to deal with. They have a lot of workers that are being laid off due to the current situation, and they still need to respond to their demands. And well, of course, with the recession, this is giving them a big challenge, meeting the internal KPIs of the other business departments. And as part of this, they are required to do more work internally without adding new lawyers. Without CLM, 25 to 40% of a lawyer's time is spent on tasks that don't require a lawyer. So this is really about what can I automate on non-quality lawyer contract management related topics, rather than, well, giving them the time back that they can spend on really those quality, on spending time on the taking care of, well, what the risk is of a contract, for example, moving forward with the speed on completing the contract process much faster, for example. And this is actually something that was done by Gartner, assuming average legal department size of 20 lawyers. And we have done, together with World Commerce and Contracting, a survey in which the other enterprises found out that 9.2% of the average cost of poor contracting of an organization's annual income. This means the bigger your enterprise is, the more need and the better, well, the more money you also have at your disposal to look for a strategic CLM solution. And I'm coming back to this later on with some other reasons why and how you can look at and how you can look at this. And 5 to 40% is on inefficient contracting that can cause firms a value erosion of a given deal depending on the circumstance. So this is about how is the quality of your contracting, how can firms improve their contracting quality, and well, how can a CLM, for example, improve this part by automating and streamlining processes, by starting to do simple templating, starting to an NDA, for example, an NDA process where a lawyer normally should not be needed anymore to fulfill the whole process from an end-to-end perspective. So what do you need in the CLM? The main challenges in enterprises are contracts all over the place. So from all my 200 plus conversations I had, the clients or the prospects tell me that the contracts are all over the place. There's no single source of truth. The documents are scattered all around. There's no transparency on contracts. So a lot of people, well, they own, between brackets, the contracts, but well, the legal people have no clue where they are, or maybe they even have a problem with searching them or finding them. And they are using many manual processes. So too many emails for requests on items such as contract status or approval updates. And well, those prospects are, of course, using tools like O365, ERP, CRM. That means that these are also parts where processes are stuck, that you don't have an end-to-end view from the contract, from the authoring or an upload of a contract until the signature, so or even the post-signature process. And then we come to that aspect where it comes to business case, to the business case where we are going to look at later on. So this is all about do the more with same or less resources, speed up the review time, do have a faster time to review, free up the time to do more strategic work for the business. So this is really on, well, getting the dull things away from your team. So, and also from the wider team actually, because a strategic enterprise CLM should also connect the business with the legal department. And in the end, of course, avoid burnouts of having to hire additional lawyers. And one thing that is really something that came to their minds is about reportings. For example, reporting an obligation. Risk assessment is a very hot topic within enterprises. And how can you assess risk? It's best to get insights from your contracts. So this is really about how fast and how can you assess the risk, how can you make these transparent, but also how can you report them and make these business decisions with those reports and with those data that you have at your disposal. Just to get some breath, I'm now going to talk a little bit about what, as I already just in my previous slide talked around the typical challenges and requirements of prospects, of enterprises, and it doesn't matter what enterprises they are and what branch they are. And most of this, that is exactly where I come back to those points. First of all, the single source of truth, the easy, secure access to contracts and data, then assess risk. So reduce the contract risk by having a better transparency, but also to use the CLM to be able to automate the processes in order to make your daily life easier when it comes to compare, for example, your clauses with jurisdictional language that is already available, see where the changes have been made, and then have language available. So what is about how can the and where the I don't know what happened right now. It's okay. So am I still online? Because there was something popping up right now. Okay, so I just keep on going. So the repetitive tasks that needs to be done as part of a contract management as a life cycle can be automated in a very easy way. And as part of the reporting and as part of the information that is being put into the system, as well as a CLM should be able to import and access all data like communication to the contract. You should be able to also move forward with your contract itself, documents that are related to those contracts and those contracts ideas can be added to the system. It can be accessed afterwards, and that data or metadata can then be used for business decisions. And that is and especially in case you have a great analytical assessment accessing tool, you can also use them for your risk assessments, for example. So
my apologies. Can you just share your screen again?
Oh, okay. What happened? Okay. Right. I didn't touch anything. Wait a second. Right. Share screen and then move in here. So where did you lose me? What exactly?
You can continue from here.
All right, great. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, so where was I? So I was talking about delivering faster contracting while increasing contract compliance. This is all about having your workflows working, delivering those services within the system itself, having an automated contract desk, doing self-services for NDAs, for example, having workflows in place that increase the speed of a contracting process from the authoring of a contract or the upload of an existing procurement contract until the signature process and beyond. What is really speeding up or bringing even more value to and extending the business value of your CLM is the existence of a good working, powerful artificial intelligence. So everything I just told you and what I showed you about the things that are needed within a CLM are better used by an AI-driven CLM platform. And as, for example, ContractPod is using an intent-based AI so that even is able to see what kind of contracts you are uploading. This is extracting, for example, all the major illegal obligations. It's extracting the AI. The AI is extracting the tasks. It's extracting the end date, the cancellation date, and it retrieves all the to-dos from those contracts, for example. And well, to make sure that everything is working, the team of AI engineers that know the legal part assure you that we can train and interact the AI with your contract, so that even with as far as we are moving on with the project, for the system will learn more and more about your contracts and be able to look even at more points from your contracts. This ensures that your investment is future-proofed and can deliver today into the future. Really important from the discussions I had is that organizations think big, start small, start with low-hanging fruits, with some really great self-service workflows like NDAs, but also adding MSAs or adding other IT contracts to their CLM. And then from there, also, of course, using already the AI, they are going to upload their already existing procurement documents or contracts, and from there start to work on them and use the AI in a way that the contract risk and compliance functionality is then enabling them to automate and streamline their processes even better. So I already said something about what is bringing the most value towards a business case, and why is a business case so important, and what is important with that business case. So part of that business case is to look at where are your tools today, which are your most important tools, and how can they be used together with your strategic CLM that you are going to decide for. And this is all about integrations with your solutions. Enterprises are using 365, like Outlook, like Word. They are using Salesforce.com. They are using Microsoft Dynamics. They are using Oracle, SAP Ariba. So what a good CLM should be able to do is to connect with those tools, and then have those tools either become a part of the whole process, enabling them to take the data, the customer data from those tools, and then have the process, the contracting process being fulfilled by our CLM solution, talking back and sending back the contract again after the system has gone through the whole signing process as well. For example, with Contract Pod, we have an Outlook integration which enables clients to state in their organization, in their environment, they can work in Outlook, and they can use the same features and functionality from the system in Outlook. They can approve, they can reject contract approvals, they can start a record, they can search for documents for contracts, and well, everything is fully connected and in real time. And another nice thing is, for example, the Word add-on, in which companies can use an integrated clause library, start to work on the contract as connected to the system, and with every time that the client is storing that document, it will also be stored in the system, thus giving a new version for this for the legal people or for the people that are working on that contract record. So it's all about improving productivity in collaboration by integrating and automating the business apps. And this is a piece where the business relationship is going to start. It's not about being a vendor, it's being a partner, working as a partner, being able to really get all your requirements and challenges and needs on paper, in a file, in a real business case, in which our people are working with you on the numbers, on all the stuff that is necessary, but also on the technology part, so on your functional features requirements, so that everything is actually then achieved and is met from by both sides, so that both sides have a good feeling on how this CLM can then be implemented and integrated into your existing environment. This is an ongoing process. So this is not just about, okay, this is an implementation integration that has done and the system has set up. We start with you the work. We keep in touch with you. We are staying in touch with you. We don't leave the clients, the enterprises alone. And that is really about a life cycle itself. So there is a contract life cycle management life cycle, and there is a business partnership life cycle. So now talk a little bit about the how on a business case. So how and where are we going to need it? Where do we look at as part of a business case approach? So building a business case is about reducing costs. It's about, what can I do to make sure that I can save already money through looking at my processes, streamlining them. This is all about driving the productivity, pulling in the right tools together, having a process in place that actually is not stuck, or that there is a gap within the process. Looking at your risks, doing a good risk management on both, of course, the system itself. So what is the right approach? Risk mitigation is also choosing the right vendor. So it's about how can we support you getting the trust, but also giving you the confidence that the system that you're going to use is also not bringing you any trouble. That's a lot of times I learned that from my clients, but also from customers that I've been talking to, that a lot of those projects are going wrong because there was an expectation management that wasn't met, or there wasn't change management that they did not look at very well. And this is part of that risk management. And the return on invest is all about, okay, what is my future with regard to resources? What is my future with regard to, how I am going to use other tools, or maybe I can now stop using other tools that are not fulfilling my needs anymore. With regard to reducing costs, enterprise need to look for a modern CLM that is designed to automate the processes. I also talked already about tasks, about reminders that can be automated. So this is really on having the possibility to get free time now for the people in your organization. And that's not just legal. That is also people from sales starting to work with Salesforce.com. As, for example, we have a Salesforce.com integration that have people working in their own environments. They can fulfill the whole contracting process within Salesforce.com. And do more with the team then, and reallocate the budget for other hires if necessary, or projects. And increase productivity. So having a modern and agile and strategic CLM in place, that will remove, it will increase the communication within your company. So as part of the Office 365, for example, we have a Teams integration, but as well as having all those strategic enterprise tools like SAP connected to the system, you will be able to now have a better view, a company-wide better view on what your contracts actually are doing, and what the people in your organization now are doing within those contracts. And this is also done centrally, so everything is one place. So automating non-legal tasks, creating self-services contracting for sales and other teams will make the time for legal people more efficient, and will enable sales, procurement, HR to start to do the contracting process by themselves on the CLM platform. Return on investment. It's about finding the right, not about finding, it's about choosing the right CLM solution, and finding a solution that is innovative, that is easy to use, that is easy to customize, in which you don't need to ask every time again to use to ask pay money if you want to make changes to the system, in which people in the organization, if well transformed transferred from a knowledge perspective, can do it themselves within 5 to 6 weeks. And well, in which the first 2 years, legal teams see increased efficiencies and productivity with less work and stress. And then that is all about adding that CLM to your wider organization, and then grow with your workflows, with your use cases. So starting with those use cases that I already mentioned before, then start with more complex workflows, use cases, and then combine those HR, for example, that they can use the contracting contracts for within the organization, and also make templates for this and have them working on them without getting the time from legal people to again do manual processes, for example. In our case study, well, from us said that there was a saving about $1 million. Well, this is something that we of course are always looking at from how we set up those business cases in our business case assessment, but this was just an example. So how does it work? So what I already talked a little bit about the parts where we are looking for when it comes to key considerations on, well, what KPIs you want to achieve, and these can change from client to client, by the way. So some are looking at looking at more efficiency, improving efficiency, looking at the scalability. Scalability is a very important point. So how can I grow with the system? Looking at the reports and analytics, take a look at reduction in time to contract. This is a main point for most of the clients, because they can much easier, faster have their revenue recognized, for example. And this is about contractual obligation and revenue capture. So how can you see where the risks are in your contracts? How fast can I make decisions and be scalable also on, well, what reactions do I need to go forward with? And this is the features that the chosen vendor can fulfill. For example, the self-service, we have an out-of-the-box custom report, automated approval requests, all backed by the DNA of the AI that is supporting the system, but also the clients and the tools and the functionality with even more efficiency and effectiveness. And the business impact goes from minimizing friction into enhancing overall compliance and risk management. It shortens the sales cycle, increases the speed to revenue. So what is CLM? CLM delivers an enterprise-wide operational, analytical, strategic value. Thus, if you take a look at the triangle here, these are the main steps from starting a project up to where it's becoming a strategic project as part of let's say a strategic solution within an enterprise. It starts with optimizing processes. So this is the operational part where clients get to know the system. They are starting to add their processes to the workflows and the workflows to the system. And from there, they glean contract information to make business decisions. So this is the analytical part. Analytics is very, very important, especially when it comes to assessing risk, but also, well, what kind of information can you get out of the data? It's more than just revenue. It's more than just, so it's more, it's about, okay, how old are your contracts? Well, what are the typical, for example, the typical rebates that you give for a specific area of clients of a specific, for within a specific year, for example. Then the strategic part is then the true risk reduction via this enhanced compliance. And this is where then, for example, Goldman Sachs says companies spend almost 5% of their revenue to track agreements after signing. So again, we having a system in place that has all the possibility of a single sort of truth, as a centralized repository, is really bringing contract management expenses down by 20 to 50%. So in my first, as I introduced myself, I was talking about one of my clients and well, how they went, what the reasons were that they moved on with the CLM and how they started this project. I started to talk to them beginning of March last year. And well, the way that they approached this was really a business case approach. So it was about numbers. It was about getting functionality versus numbers. And they were looking to for a system that replaces manual contract processes. So I talked to people from procurement. I talked to the people from sales. We had many discussions, but we also had discussions many on business assessment, business risk assessments, and how can we support the client with those numbers. And well, that is what we did. We started with a solid number on, we really went through that business case process, and in the end we came up with a solid ROI. And well, this was all about accelerating the business. It was about numbers. It's about measuring everything you do. And with a CLM, you can measure anything that you do with a contract. You can measure the speed that a contract runs through. You can measure the quality of the contract. Yeah, you can, well, measure the way how tasks are now being fulfilled much quicker. So that was what they were looking for, simplifying the processes and measuring the success of your contract. And they did this well by integrating the enterprise tools that they have in their company. But their main point was a sales-driven, a sales-led project. So a Microsoft Dynamics project. Really, sales can start or their contracts from Microsoft Dynamics, then work through the document, work through the contract process themselves, or have parts work done through the approval process, then go through legal. So an end-to-end process from a sales perspective, but also for procurement, for IT contracts or whatever contracts you can think of, leasing contracts. As we are document and industry agnostic, it doesn't matter what kind of use cases or contracts you are using, and drive collaboration across the departments. And the things that we learned from this is that they said that it's really important to have that digital platform now also from a legal perspective. They are going through a legal digital transformation time, and our legal so our CLM solution completely fits into their needs and into their vision of how digital transformation and how processes can be really added to existing environments, thus well connecting the businesses with legal. And while we started this now is to well start with the low-hanging fruits and well understand business objective, and well have the integration start with also very quickly. And today they have a much faster pace to the contractual process, and well there are they win a lot of time, especially within the timeline that a contract comes to revenue, because this is a much faster time to speed to revenue. Yeah, I'm coming to an end. As part of the business case as discussion, I'm really thankful for your time and for everything that that you're listening to me. And what I offer you is a complimentary business case assessment. That is a 30-minute call to discuss the contract business assessment process, and we'll discuss with you the outcomes. And from there, if you want, we can also schedule time with our strategy team. So that was it from my side. Are there any questions? I see that there are quite some questions. Okay. All right. So yes, maybe I can. Carla, are you there?
Yes.
All right. Okay. I see that, and that was something that happened as the as the slide deck was missing. Sorry for that. Thank you very much for your questions. So there were some questions on integrations. Yes, the integrations are part out of the box to the extent, and they are. For example, our Salesforce.com integration is a managed service native integration in which the client does not works in their own Salesforce.com environment. So we install this as a managed service. The clients and the salespeople are working in Salesforce.com. They don't know that they're working on the contract pod system, for example, and they can really walk through the whole contracting process from the authoring of an MSA or an NDA or whatever until the signature of the contract and the approval process within the Salesforce.com application. And there is a cost of integrations which depends on how much the integration needs for a scoping perspective. For example, Outlook integration, Word integration, SharePoint integration is part of our standard delivery and part of our outcome-based pricing. And yeah, that is, and this is really a big value towards the clients, as this is bringing the most of an efficiency with their daily work. And yes, there was another question on, does your CLM use AI to analyze and automate contract review? Our CLM uses an AI exactly to analyze and automate the contract review. Whilst you're uploading the contract, the system is OCRing your document, and it's extracting all the relevant data that is actually needed for you, that you are choosing for your automation process. So that can be the partner name, that is the date, that is the end date. For example, this is the cancellation date, these are tasks. Yeah. So yes, we are, and it is part of the basic functionality that our system provides. The AI different compared to other vendors. Other vendors have a different approach. ContractPod has an intent-based AI together with already pre-installed playbooks. So that means that you can compare two different kinds of, you can compare your uploaded contract with predefined clauses, then find the changes, and these changes can be very easily chosen from the playbooks, either the playbooks that are already pre-installed in the system or the ones that we are customizing for you with even fallback scenarios. And I see there's a last question. What are the most common use cases your customers start with? Yes, that is much about low-hanging fruits. As I already said, these are the smaller ones. These are the NDAs, the MSAs. These are templates in which we very easily can multiply those contracts within wider organizations. The use cases that, especially with large enterprises, is that there is one department starting with the project, and that can then be multiplied to other parts of the organization, and then business organizations will then be added to it piece by piece. So then in the end, everybody is really involved, and that is one of the most important things, that the system is well introduced into the organization and is used by the organization in a proper way. So from my perspective, I don't see any other questions right now. So yeah, from my side, many thanks for your attendance and for all your questions. And well, we will send you this deck afterwards. And well, if you like, I would like to schedule a 30-minute call to discuss your requirements. And yeah, I'm looking forward for any feedback from your side. Many thanks.